Hello and welcome to today's tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a basic macro and one that creates a pivot table. So in Excel, there's this developer tab. If you don't have it enabled, um, you probably want to go to File, Options, Customize Ribbon, and then look for this developer um, and check the box, check this box to enable it. Okay, so if you do that, you should have this developer tab here. And so this is where you'll see the macro recorder and other options for Visual Basic Code and macros. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a simple macro. So I'm going to click here, go to the Home tab, and apply a fill. Actually, I need to undo that because I need to make sure that this is recording. And so in order for the code to be generated, I need to click the record macro. So record macro, and then I'll call it format um, table. Okay, I just call this one format table. I want to start in this workbook. And let's say that I want to do a shortcut key, Control Shift F, for example. You could use any letter, any character. So I just want to keep it simple, F for format. And formats the current table. Okay, you can type a description here. And then I'm going to then come to the Home tab and apply a fill here. And I noticed that some of my columns are not the correct width. So I'm going to double click here to expand this. So that's formatting it as well. And then I go back to the Developers tab and I stop recording. So once I stop recording, you can see here that this now changes back to record macro. So I can go to my Visual Basic window, and under my modules, I see module 1. And this is my basic code. What it does is it creates a sub called format table, which is a macro. And it takes range, the first cell, A1, and selects it, and then does apply some formatting to it. Okay, so these are I added a certain color to it, so this does that. And then the column with adjustments that I made. So this is that code. Okay, it's very simple. You don't need to know VBA. I'm just kind of explaining to you that this code is pretty much replicating what I did in code. So I know this code does that. So I can go back here to my spreadsheet and I go to insert here under developer. And I want to insert a button that when clicked will run this. So I will say, I'm going to assign format table to this button and macros in. I can make it macros in all open workbook, or I can make it in only this workbook. And actually, or in this, so I created this other workbook called YouTube tutorial for this purpose. So I can put it in any of these. I'll just make it available in all open workbooks for now and click OK. And then I'll just change the name to format table and click out of it. Okay, so if I were to make a copy of this here, and I go to a new sheet and paste this there, okay, technically, I could get rid of this style here. And where do you, okay, here, I can get rid of the style so that it's back to where it was. And I can shrink this and that. And then let's see if when I click on format table, it does. See, it does exactly that. So that's what I wanted it to do, and that's what it did. So that's a basic creation of a macro using the macro recorder. Now, there's something else that I wanted to do, which is create a pivot table. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add, so I'm going to go back to the developer tab here and go to Visual Basic. Now I can add my own code, VBA code, and actually I use ChatGPT to generate some code that I'm going to add here. So I'm going to go to Insert, and I want to insert a module, which is this where you put your code. So I'll call this one um, uh, create pivot table. Okay. And then I'm going to copy the code here. Actually, the name of the sub is format and summarize data. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. You don't need to worry too much about the actual code. I'm just demonstrating how you would create a macro using code that you already have. And so if I come here, I can paste this here and save it. See, I cannot save this as an XLSX. I have to save it as a macro-enabled workbook. So instead of save, I'll click go back. And then here, I'm going to change the type to Excel macro-enabled workbook and save it. Okay, so now that I've saved it, I'm ready to take the next step, which is I'm going to now um, run this by assigning this macro to a button. So I'm going to go here, and instead of format table, I'm going to insert a second button here, like so. And this one, I'm going to call it use the sub instead. So this is another macro, but this one I created using ChatGPT. I created the code using ChatGPT. I told it what I wanted to do, which is format and summarize this sales data in a pivot table. And it did just that. It gave me the code, which I copied and pasted from my notepad into the module. So I click OK. And now, so I'll just call this one summarize sales data. Okay, so that's another button which I were to click should now create my pivot table. And let me just do one more thing. So yeah, I gave this a name, but you can see that the name of the module doesn't have to be the same as the name of the macro, which is the sub here. So that's just a side note. And then I come here and I click this. Oops, it says that there's an error. So let me go to debug here and see what happened. Oh, I need to give the sheet a name. So this sheet should be called sales data. It says adjust sheet name as needed. So in order for this to work, I need to rename this to sales data. So let me come here and copy this name and go back here and rename sheet one, because in order for this to work, the sheet with the data has to be called that. And then I can go back here and stop the current run reset. And then, so if you have an error, you can always, like, if you don't know VBA, you can ask ChatGPT to correct, tell ChatGPT what your error is and give it the code and it will correct it for you. That's how I actually finalize this code. There were other errors that I got earlier. So I'm just going to now that I've given this name sales data, it should find it. And so when I run this code, you can see it has created my pivot table, applied a style to it, and put product in columns, region in rows, and values. So that's how I automate the creation of this pivot table, which summarizes the sales data by using a macro that I assigned to a button. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe to my channel for notifications about subsequent videos, and I'll see you in the next one.